Christopher Finlayson.
Thank you, sir. I'm very pleased to take a call to support the first reading of this bill, which, like other Tauranga bills, has been many years in the making. And to those in the gallery who've come to witness this long-awaited and historic day, I welcome you to Parliament, tēnā koutou. Can I say it's great to see our former colleague, Mita Ruranui, back in the House today. Mr. Speaker, the signing of this deed of settlement in 2013 signalled the completion of all settlements with the three Tauranga Moana iwi. The bill follows the introduction of the other two Tauranga Moana bills, the Tauranga Moana Iwi Collective Redress and Ngā Hāpu o Ngāti Ranganui Claims Settlement Bill and the Ngāti Pukenga Claims Settlement Bill. I spoke at the first readings of both those bills on 14 April, and it was a great pleasure for we parliamentarians to host Rangi for that occasion, along with the other Tauranga Moana iwi. It's fitting for the three Tauranga Moana iwi who began their treaty settlement journey all those years ago to be basically at the same stage in the legislative process. And despite the time that's been taken to get to this point, I never had any doubt that we would get there, and that's why I'm so pleased to see representatives of the iwi in the gallery, and I hope they agree with me, it's been worth the wait. An unusual feature of this settlement is that there are two entities mandated to negotiate the settlement of Ngaitarangi's claims. We've got Te Runanga o Ngaitarangi and the Ngā Pōtiki Tamopahori Trust. In October 2008, the Crown recognised the mandate of Te Runanga o Ngaitarangi to negotiate a settlement of the historical treaty claims for 9 of the 10 Ngaitarangi Hāpu. Then in May 2011, the Crown recognised the mandate of the Trust to represent the Ngāi Pōtiki claimant community in negotiations of their historical treaty claims as part of the Ngaitarangi negotiations with the Runanga. Mr. Speaker, I want to take a moment to commend the Ngaitarangi and Ngā Pōtiki negotiators and trustees for the way in which they worked together at one table to negotiate with the Crown. It was indeed an unusual arrangement to have two mandated groups negotiating at the one treaty settlement table with the Crown, but they managed this relationship with professionalism and with manaakitanga for each group's aspirations. In 2013, in June 2013, Cabinet approved the Ngaitarangi and Ngā Pōtiki settlement package. An agreement in principle was signed on 28 June 2013. The team was determined to try and achieve the signing of a deed of settlement in 2013, and they did keep the pressure on the Crown to achieve this, but eventually, sir, it was signed on 14 December 2013 on a typically fine Tauranga Saturday morning. This bill will give legislative effect to the final agreements on the redress as set out in the deed. Mr. Speaker, the historical claims of Ngaitarangi and Ngā Pōtiki primarily relate to the Crown-initiated military conflict in Tauranga in 1864, which was in breach of the treaty and its principles. The claims also relate to the ensuing confiscation, or raupatu, the Crown purchase of the Te Puna Katikati block, the imposition of native land laws in Tauranga Moana, Crown purchasing methods in the Tauranga district in the 1880s and 1890s, the compulsory acquisition of uneconomic interests, and inevitably, and I say this every debate for a settlement bill, public works takings. As a result of these actions, Ngaitarangi and Ngā Pōtiki are virtually landless, retaining only approximately 2% of their rohe, with their cultural landscapes and seascapes compromised and diminished. As we know, it's not possible to compensate Ngaitarangi and Ngā Pōtiki fully for the loss suffered as a result of the Crown's acts and omissions, but hopefully the financial and commercial redress provided seeks to recognise those losses. Commercial redress includes quantum of $26.5 million plus interest to Ngāi Rangi and $3 million to Ngā Pōtiki plus interest, land bank properties, commercial redress properties, sale and leaseback properties and rights of first refusal in relation to the disposal of Crown land. Cultural redress includes the vesting and joint vesting of sites of cultural and historical significance to Ngāi Rangi. It also includes changes to official geographic names and statutory acknowledgements over areas which are of great significance. Mr. Speaker, Ngāi Rangi can trace their origins to the Mātātua waka. They have had a long and varied history of war and migration. By the 18th century, they had become known as Ngāi Rangi Hauhiri, named after their leader, who along with his brother, Tama Pahore, led their people through turbulent times and to the area they now call home. And I'm sure both those tupuna would be very proud indeed of the way the negotiators and trustees have fought hard to achieve the best settlement possible for future generations of Ngāi Rangi and Ngā Pōtiki. Mr. Speaker, I want to acknowledge all those who have supported the settlement, those who are with us today and those who have since passed. I particularly want to acknowledge those who champion the claims at the tribunal, through to the whānau, the marae, and the runanga workers who quietly slaved behind the scenes to support the work of others. A person of more recent times it is appropriate to acknowledge is Matthew Dixon. Matthew came from the Ngāi Rangi hapu of Ngāi Tū Kairangi. He was a man of many talents who made an important contribution to Māori education and to iwi politics. These talents included being a law lecturer at the University of Waikato, serving as a Tauranga City Councillor, being a board member of Whāmak, and a judge for Te Matatini Kapahaka competitions. He had a particular skill in bringing people together and forging a shared sense of understanding when it came to Treaty of Waitangi aspirations. As one of the Ngāi Rangi negotiators, his skills in this area were critical to reaching this point, and I acknowledge his contribution. Mr. Speaker, I particularly want to acknowledge the Chief Crown Negotiator for the 3 negotiations in Tauranga, Dame Patsy Reddy. She oversaw the work on this settlement and was instrumental in the completion of all the treaty settlements in the region. I take this opportunity to wish her all the best for her next role, and I hope that she hopes she's in the chair to sign into law the Tauranga settlement bills, and on that day I hope we can all have a great party, all of us up at Government House. Finally, I want to thank my ministerial colleagues, the officials of the Office of Treaty Settlements, officials from the various agencies for all the work they have done to make this settlement possible. Mr. Speaker, I consider the bill should proceed without delay to the Māori Affairs Select Committee, and thus I commend the bill to the House.